This week on the WriterCon podcast.
Stick to your dream. You know, if you have an idea for a book, stick to your dream, make it happen.
Welcome to WriterCon, a gathering place for writers to share their knowledge about writing and the writing world. Do you have a desire to write? Every successful writer started with their first book. All it takes is determination and knowledge, and WriterCon can provide that knowledge. Your hosts are #1 national best-selling writer William Bernhardt, author of more than 60 books, including The Superman Wars, and Lara Bernhardt, award-winning author of the Wantland Files series and Shadow of the Taj.
Thank you, Jesse Ulrich. Hey there, writers. Thanks for joining us today. Lots going on here at WriterCon Central. I'm, of course, still promoting and doing interviews and whatnot for my new book, The Superman Wars.
Yeah, just as I did during an earlier recording, just Google The Superman Wars and see all of the podcasts Bill has been on recently.
It's amazing.
There's a few. It's fun, though. And, it's kind of, back in the old days when I started this, they'd send you on book tour, which was really kind of a drag, flying a new place, staying at home and getting to talk to people all over the world. That is much better. Anyway, book appears to be doing fine. Everybody seems interested. I think they're twigging on to the fact that it's not just for comic book people, although obviously they would enjoy the book, but really it's a creator rights battle relevant to all creators, whatever field you're into, writing or fine art or whatever. This is about how we need to change the world so that artists and writers can survive and we can continue obtaining the joy we get from their artistic work. Lara, you've been hard at work editing the next title from Bernhardt Books, yes?
Yeah, we've got one, wrapping up one and starting the next,
And Jesse, I think you've just opened a restaurant for your cat. Is that, did I get that right?
That is correct. That is correct. Spot has a sushi restaurant that he runs.
I saw that online.
Apparently on DoorDash, but you can only order 2 pieces at a time.
Yeah, well, that's the most I can fit in his mouth at once. And,
so he's got a restaurant, but he just gets the food from DoorDash? I mean, that's
he's doing that one model, like that one pizza place that used to get pizzas from another place and then just warm it up and send it to you. He's doing that. I told him it's a bad idea, but he doesn't listen to me.
He's a cat.
He's a cat.
They don't listen.
Right.
Yeah.
And Lara, in addition to the writing and editing, you're currently reproducing Van Gogh's Starry Night, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Which we saw in New York not last time, but previous time we were there.
Yes, we sure did. And it was breathtaking. And then, of course, I admired the Lego set version of it in the gift shop, which would not fit into a suitcase.
Huge.
And we don't, and I'm not going to check that. But then...
Lady, I want to search your Lego kit.
All right. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, go for it. No, then you surprised me with it for our anniversary. Aww. And it's thousands of pieces. So I've been working away at it. I think if I have time today, I'll get to the frame and then we'll start making some of the little pretties that go on there.
You can do it. I have faith
wonderfully soothing. It's a great thing. I love building things and putting things together and creating things, and it's super fun.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. Occasionally it's fun to get away from the screen and still be creative, but doing something different.
And watch it come together. It's great. It's looking so neat. And then at one point I turned it over. It was like, turn it over. And I was like, oh, I was building it upside down the whole time. Now I see it.
Aw, well, it's Van Gogh. Are you really going to know?
Yeah, does he have sides? Come on.
Okay, today our interview is with Rick London, author of The Dancing Wolfeman, which is a paranormal romantasy adventure, maybe a few other things too. It's a werewolf story with a big twist. The protagonist is a high school music teacher by day and a DJ by night who becomes a wolfman. And as you can see, music is already very important as the story progresses. It's a fascinating twist on some literary tropes that are known and loved. Can't wait to talk to him about this. But first, the news. News story number 1. Trad wife fiction has become this year's most talked about genre. You may have seen it anywhere, everywhere. There are a bunch of books in this genre. There are 2 different books just called Trad Wife. Probably the most prominent one, though, is Yesterday, which is the debut novel from Caro Claire Burke. The book's already been optioned for movies by Anne Hathaway and is playing on this growing trend on Instagram and other social media platforms, promoting a return to the trad wife lifestyle, which is basically all the attitudes from the 1950s, if not earlier, brought back to life. In the book, Natalie Heller Mills is, quote, the mother every woman wanted to be and the wife every man wanted to come home to. She does all the stuff. She's got 6 kids. She spends her days churning butter and baking sourdough bread and feeding the chickens. And, she does it very well. But then the plot twist, the inciting incident, whatever, she wakes up and finds herself in an early 19th century version of her house, except it's the early 19th century. And there are no modern conveniences. There's no heating. There's no fridge. There's no Wi-Fi. She's surrounded by all these kids that she doesn't really recognize. And her husband, who vaguely resembles her previous husband and has some distinctly early 19th century attitudes about what marital duties might be. Anyway, here's the thing. This book has received the kind of buzz that, beginning novelists just dream about getting. And the premise is perfect for the times. As you probably know, trad wife has become a familiar kind of young person Gen Z term for somebody who wants to adopt rigid gender norms and dedicate their life to housekeeping and child rearing and that sort of thing. Lara, of course, I thought of you immediately when I started. Not
trad wife because I hop up in the morning and I fill up my bird feeders and
yeah. No, that's cool wife. I was going to say that since
Bird
you're
wife?
about as far from a trad wife as it's possible to be, do you think you would ever be interested in reading this?
From the description that you just gave, I would have said no. However, our daughter Katie was just telling me that she read Yesteryear.
Really?
And that she thought I should read it as well. And she's just finished it and she called it profound. And she made it sound far more intriguing and interesting. So It is actually on my TBR list because she had recommended it to me and urged me to read it so we could talk about it.
Well, at least it's got a good plot twist. I'll give it that.
It does have a good plot twist.
So let me review. Madeline is reading hockey romances and Katie is reading trad wife novels. I think that means Beth has to get on board with paranormal romance, whatever's left. What's the next trend?
I'll
the
ask
hockey
her.
romances, right?
No, that's Madeline. She's on those already.
Okay.
I'll find out. Beth listens to books on audio during her drive to and from work. I'll have to ask her if she reads or listens to medical dramas or what.
But, she should write one. Be the next Frida McFadden.
Right. Maybe she can,
traveling east next month for her.
Just to be clear, I don't
med
think
school
Katie's
resident graduation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I don't actually think Katie's reading trad wife novels. I think she's reading this one that's got a big twist.
This one,
and then,
but if she
just
loves
Yesteryear.
I don't know, Jesse. Is Michelle going to read trad wife novels, or does she have her niche? Hockey is already taken. Trad wife is what's left.
Listen, Michelle has and will always be a cozy mystery person, a
Really?
cozy mystery reader. So any sort of play on that, whether it's animals doing it, people doing it, different time periods of people doing it, that's what she enjoys. I listen. I'm probably not going to read this. I do think it's interesting to take what people think societal norms are from a certain time period and then shoot you back like 100 years to see if you were right about that and see how actually different it probably is. Like, I think that's a fun idea to play with. I don't necessarily desire to read things about how life was
Mm-hmm.
70, 80, 100 years ago.
I definitely have no interest in going back there.
No.
Yeah.
As far away from the 1940s for me as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, definitely.
So does that mean Michelle is not churning her own butter? Is that what I'm hearing?
she is not. If anything, I'd be turning the butter. So
I'm
the trade wife in this house.
Could be fun.
I would try something like that though. I like
Sure.
making things from scratch, and I did bake sourdough when we
You
were
did.
Stuck down here in COVID. But I don't think I qualify as a trad wife. I have a bunch of kids.
Yeah, that's not really the defining thing, but okay. News story number 2. Indie author Sacha Black has established her own fulfillment center. Some of you may remember we covered the story when Jesse's guy, Brandon Sanderson, got all that Kickstarter loot and basically started his own warehouse and fulfillment center. Well, now Sacha Black, who's primarily a self-published author, is doing the same thing. And get this, she's not only doing fulfillment, she's doing like paper books. She uses not print on demand, but traditional offset printing. She orders hundreds or thousands of books at a time. They come to her so-called warehouse, which apparently is really just a really big room. And then she does the fulfillment. She packs the orders and ships them out. I don't think she actually drives the UPS truck, but she does about everything else. And this, of course, increases her profit margins, but also allows her to be in charge and personalize it. She sends personal messages out with these things or autographs things for people. And, it's probably not realistic for every indie author, but I think it's cool that she's taking advantage of her success and trying to boost it up to the next level. Lara, is this our next step? Do we need our own fulfillment center?
This might surprise you, but I'm intrigued. I can be convinced. I mean, how many times have we had the dining room table devoted to packing up ARCs or, book boxes from giveaways and promotions? I mean, it's not that much more work. It wouldn't be any more work. It would be pretty much the same thing to be able to send out. And that's exactly what I was thinking. It's fun to be able to include a nice little note, a signed copy, a matching bookmark, all the things that you might be able to get from an author if you were at like a reader event where you got to meet the author and get their book from them. But I don't think it sounds terrible.
I mean, I've often said you can't write all day long. Nobody, I mean, you could if you had to, but who wants to? I usually stop in the afternoon and work on, WriterCon or work on the publishing company. Or I suppose I could go to my warehouse and pack books. I'm not sure I want to, though, but I might have other things I think are more fun. How about you, Jesse? You think there's enough interest in, let's put it in your science fiction world? Could this ever pay off for somebody?
I mean, I do think it would be satisfying if, as a job, even if not permanent, but just for like a couple of weeks, if, sorry, I'm trying to think of his name. Any sci-fi author I like was like, hey, I'm going to hand deliver all the books that have been ordered like through my website. Will you help me pack them? Like that could be fun. There's something satisfying to a simple job that has a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And doesn't involve creativity really.
Yeah,
you can just
yeah.
do
I
it.
mean, yeah. There's a creativity in organization in a project like shipping 1,000 books. Right, there is a sort of creativity to how the process runs, and the little things you can do to make it faster. And I, as someone who's worked in warehouses and libraries and whatnot, there is a fascination to like, what is the most efficient way to do this? And, to help someone get a book that actually does sound fun. So,
and honestly, there's a creative element of what am I going to send with it? I mean, the whole point of this is to get that, extra corresponding freebie, something that you would never get if you ordered it through Amazon or somewhere else. So I think that could be very fun to think of something book related, to be able to send to the readers along with it to make it pop, to make it a little extra special.
Yeah, that's true. So Jesse, Since it sounds fun, when Lara and I open our fulfillment center, we're giving you a call.
Call me.
We'll make a party of it.
Yeah,
We would.
there's sometimes you don't learn that you have a skill set until you end up in a job where you have to do it. And
So
like
true.
organizing mailing is something apparently I had ended up having to do in some job. And I was like, I kind of enjoy this. So let's go.
Hey, when I worked at the library, I liked alphabetizing and ordering, bringing order to the mess of books was very satisfying.
Yeah, there's something very satisfying about it.
Makes sense. All right, let's move to Craft Corner. If you've been listening to this podcast very long, or even like the last episode, you know that unfortunately there are a lot of scammers out there trying to take advantage of writers. Fortunately, help is on its way. WriterCon friend Betsey Kulahowski, the author of the Veritas Codex series of paranormal thrillers. The first one is actually called the Veritas Codex, and she's here to offer some insightful tips on avoiding writer scams. Take it away, Betsey.
Craft Corner.
Hi, this is Betsey Kulahowski, best-selling author of the Veritas Codex series and the Manifest Destiny series, and I'm here with today's Craft Corner. How often do you get an email or a DM from someone promising to make your book a bestseller? Chances are pretty good they're lying. Scams are everywhere, and they all play on human psychology to separate you from your money. So today, we're going to talk about the 3 biggest scams targeting authors right now. Number 1 is called the marketing miracle. It may begin with an email or a private message in your DMs. They regurgitate your book blurb and praise your skills as an author and how amazing it is that you wrote this book. But there's a problem. Your book doesn't have enough reviews, or it isn't properly positioned for maximum results. The backhanded compliments suddenly sting. But they have the solution to your problem. They can provide massive exposure to thousands of readers just waiting to write a review for your book. They don't even mention a fee yet. The best they can deliver are fake reviews, bots, or nothing at all. Once they have your money, they're gone. The reality is, it's a scam. And once you recognize the common patterns in these emails, you'll never be able to unsee it. Number 2 are the fake publishers. Now, these look real. There's a professional-looking signature in the back of their email, links to their websites, testimonials, maybe even staff photos. But if you look deeper, the red flags are everywhere. The email address is probably a Gmail, Yahoo, or AOL account, not one associated with the actual publisher. I got one this morning claiming to be from Penguin Random House, but they didn't even spell penguin properly. They may be offering you a chance to publish with one of their little-known imprints for a fee. Real publishers make money from selling books, not charging authors. It's a scam. Number 3 is the guarantee of success. Bestseller lists, movie deals, they may promise that, but they can't guarantee to deliver. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. This is a classic scam designed around your desire for acceptance and validation. And honestly, who doesn't want a movie deal? But it's a scam. Here's the basic rule of thumb. Legitimate professionals don't come to you online. You have to be diligent because these scammers are getting better and better at the game. And that's what it is for them. It's a game. If you don't respond, but you click on any of the links in the email, it can lead you to a cloned website where they'll download a virus such as a keylogger or ransomware to your computer. They might be able to get all your personal information, including banking login, credit card information, and passwords. They can block your access to your own computer and even your manuscript, so don't click on any link ever. Every 49 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity theft. It's on the rise with over 6.4 million reports of identity theft in 2025 alone, leading to nearly $13 billion in financial losses. The minute I recognize a red flag, it's a hard stop for me. I automatically block and delete and report. If you do engage, verify before you trust, and never pay for anything under pressure. It's okay to block and move on. It's not rude. It's protecting yourself and your writing business. If you need marketing services or solutions to the pain points they're targeting, just know there are legitimate providers out there. You can meet vetted and trusted individuals at great conferences like WriterCon, or through writers groups and from other authors, but you still need to do your own due diligence and check them out before you hire anyone. Networking at meetings and events gives you an opportunity to build relationships, verify credentials, and get referrals from friends and colleagues. Community is where trust grows. Scams thrive in isolations, but communities expose them quickly. Serious professionals get paid when your book succeeds. If their business model depends on your payment instead of your success, they're not your partner, you're their revenue stream. This is a big difference between paying for a service and paying for a promise. Friends, don't fall for it. See you all next time.
Thanks, Betsey. And now let's talk to Rick London. Rick London, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Lara and Bill.
Thank you for being here. Okay, our traditional first question. If you could offer writers one piece of advice, what would it be?
You know what? Stick to your dream. If you have an idea for a book, stick to your dream, make it happen. I've read somewhere that a lot of people are interested in writing a book and they never get started. They're like, they look at all the barriers that are in front of, you know what? Don't let it get anything in your way. If you have an idea for a book, share it with the world, do whatever it takes.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
And you might be an example of that because you've made probably not your first career pivot into writing. How did this first novel come about?
It comes from a memory of Super Bowl Sunday, 1998. I went to go see the game with a good friend of mine out here. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I had to take the freeway to get there. And I got off the freeway and I took this country road. And it was, during the day when I went there, but it's a beautiful country road, rolling hills. We just had a lot of rain. It was green, beautiful cows everywhere. And so I went to go see the game. And then on the way back, it was dark and, the light posts are very far apart and it was a low cloud cover and it looked real eerie. It looked like the scene in the beginning of a movie called An American Werewolf in London. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a great movie, right? When they're walking in the moors in London, in England, right? And so it reminded me of that, and that memory stayed with me. And then in December of 2024, hanging out with some friends on a Friday night, and we're talking about old friends, and I'm like, hey, my old friend, I remember Nick, right? We went to go see the game with, and all of a sudden that scene popped in my head, right? And as I drove home, it just kept lingering in my brain. I'm like, why does this idea keep going? So it just stayed in my brain. The next day I woke up, same thing. And I'm like, I got to do something with this idea. And I came up with, it looked like a place where a wolfman would come out. What would I do if a wolfman came out? Right. Yeah. So I asked myself that. Right. And then I'm like, hey, it's like, I could do something with this. I love Wolfman tales. I love vampires, Frankenstein. I love superheroes. Yeah. And since I love superheroes and, you guys dress Superman, I love Superman's
not me. I wouldn't.
Superman's my favorite superhero, right? So I'm like, I'm going to do something different with my Wolfman. I'm going to make him into a savior. And so so what I came up with is my son was taking, he was trying out music with his best friend was, coercing him to try the trombone. And so behind me, the wall behind me, my son, brought the trombone home, put the case there. And I kept looking at the case as I was coming up with what to make the story about. And I looked at the case and I'm like, bingo, right? Music. So, I wrote things down, ideas, and I came up with music as a driving force for my character, who's a high school music teacher by day. Okay. And DJ by night. Music's deep in his soul. He's embedded deep in his DNA because he's been around music since he was a baby. And so, music, and he's a morally grounded guy. Mm-hmm. So when he hears music in his first transformation, instead of becoming a killer, he becomes a morally grounded werewolf. And so he's not a killer, so he becomes a savior. And we encounters, as the encounters grow, he's presented with opportunities to like ask himself, what am I going to do? Am I going to be this killer or am I going to be the person who I am? So It's sort of like questioning himself, it's sort of like a metaphor, right? If you're presented with if you're presented with a situation, what are you going to do? You're going to show your best or are you going to become a monster? So,
well, I have heard over and over again that all the great books start with the question, what if? And it sounds like that's what prompted you to start writing this. And then a lot of things in your life came together and influenced this as well. Werewolf, but a good guy.
This book is called The Dancing Werewolf. I don't think I said that before.
Werewolf.
Yes.
Yeah. So normally we associate werewolves and other.
No, it's The Dancing Wolfman.
The Dancing Wolfman.
That's what it
It's
is.
in
I'm
Wolfman.
sorry.
Yeah, with an E.
I
Yeah,
misstated your. Yeah,
no worries. Yeah, with an
Wolfman
E.
with an E in the
My
middle.
title character's name is Titus Wolf with an E. So that's
W-O-L.
I gave it a little
Nice.
different, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a book out there called The Dancing Wolfman. You look a regular Wolfman, but I wanted mine to be unique, so I used his last name. And then I made it how ironic, right? I got a music teacher with the last name Wolf becomes a Wolfman.
And apparently music hath charms that soothe the savage beast, although that's not actually the quote, but you know what I'm talking. Is that what happens here?
Yeah, it's like when I was looking at the trombone case and I came up with the idea for music, that old adage came up, right? It's like music tames the savage beast, right? And I'm like, I can use that, but not so much to tame him. It's just to transform his consciousness while he's a wolf. And, to ask himself is like, what am I going to do? Am I going to let my primal instincts take over, or am I going to, be in control and do something different? So I just wanted to come up with a different take on the Wolfman lore.
Yeah, that's
So,
fascinating.
Sounds like you
I think
did.
that's very interesting. Normally we associate werewolves and other paranormal creatures with horror. Is this a horror novel? You're talking about him being more ethical and more of a savior.
no, not so much. It's, I don't have any gore or anything in there. It's just more of, even though he's a wolf, it's a wolf man. It's more like the metaphor, it's like he's presented with situations and I throw a romance in there. He meets a woman of his dreams, just to give your readers, your audience, just a little tidbit. That first person that he was going to viciously kill, right? Because that's what wolves do, right? Wolfmen do. So when he hears music, she's jogging in the woods, and he hears music in her ear pods, right, coming from her phone, and that little music starts a transformation of his consciousness. And so he looks at her, and instead of killing her, he runs from her because he's not gonna do that. And if I did that, it's like I was telling other people in podcasts, I didn't want a regular Wolfman story because they always they always follow the same arc, right? Becomes a killer, then they get hunted, and then they die at the end. And I didn't want any of that. I wanted a totally different, thing to work. So instead of killing her, he spares her life, and then later on he comes back to save her again, and she becomes his love interest. So it's a paranormal romantasy adventure thriller.
You've covered all the bases here. That's correct.
Yes, sir.
That's fun. I like that. You took a familiar character and you've transformed it into a new idea. Very cool.
Yeah.
How would you describe your writing process?
I've never experienced it, and I didn't look anything up. I didn't take a creative writing class. The only thing I did is I kept writing. I told myself, it made sense to me that as every chapter got written, to go back and start at the beginning and read the chapter, make sure that everything flowed. I don't know if that's other writers' process. So every time I added a chapter, not a paragraph, I would wait until I wrote the chapter, and then I would go back and read it again from the beginning each and every time to make sure that I didn't miss anything or if I had to take something out. And so that was just my thought process. And I guess it, and it worked.
I think that's the first time someone's described that particular process. That's interesting. Now, are you a planner? Do you outline ahead of time, or are you more of like a writing by the seat of your pants kind of writer?
A little bit of both. I did plan out I outlined the chapters in the story, but then as I started writing the chapters, it's like, oh no, this idea doesn't work, and I hear that with a lot of writers, right? I don't know if that's your process, right? Oh, you'll outline something, and all of a sudden you're writing and something else pops up, right? And then,
of course, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The outline is a roadmap. That's what we like to say. And if something else occurs to you, and it will, because we're creatives and that's what happens. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What does your writing day look like? Do you like to get up in the morning and write first thing? Or are you a night owl? You prefer to wait till later in the day?
Night owl and on the weekends, because I work Monday through Friday, and
Yep.
the morning I like to wake up, have my coffee, not be in a rush to go to work. Get my lunch ready, everything. My wife and I both work, so we both have to get ready. So I really don't have time. And at night I'm a little more, my thought process is a little more smoother. And then on the weekends, get a good night's rest on Friday and Saturday night, and then write both on Saturday and Sunday, sit down. My wife does stuff in the kitchen and I'm here helping her with other stuff. And while I'm not doing that, I come to the computer and there I go.
Great. What are some of the lessons that you've learned so far along the way about writing, or maybe the writing life, or even just juggling writing life with the rest of your life?
It's funny. It's like, this is my first time, but I didn't really struggle with anything. It's just as I kept writing, I got more excited every time I read it. I put in a chapter, I got more excited. I got stuck here and there, it's like that, so I was like, okay, this doesn't work. Then I wrote down, then I come up, and then boom, it came to me. But it only took me like about 20 weeks, 16 to 20 weeks, somewhere around there. I didn't really struggle because I guess I was really determined to write this book and come up with this story, and now that drove me to finish it. Yeah. I didn't really have any, I didn't have any writer's block, nothing like that. Yeah. It just came to me every time I sat down to write, boom, it just came.
Yeah. Sounds like the story was alive. Yeah.
Well, what should we be looking from you next, Rick? Is there a singing vampire or tap dancing Frankenstein? Except that's kind of already been done, hasn't it?
I think so, right? Oh God, my wife and I'm always throwing those quips from Young Frankenstein. It's like one of my favorite movies. That movie is just too funny. No, I would like to continue the arc of his existence, his romance, his friendship with somebody else who looked like he was an antagonist, but turns out to be, becomes a close ally. So this is volume 1, as it's on the title. I like to create volume 2, and then I like to go into a third book, which is Origins of a Werewolf.
Cool.
Because I've done a little research, and actually the werewolf lore comes from, a lot of it comes from Eastern Europe. Mm-hmm. Greece, Macedonia, places like that far out there, and throw that in and, continue their story. And the other two things I like to do is his love interest. I would like to do a prequel on her, and then where she meets him, and then do a prequel on the other guy, which his name is Everett Kane, and do a prequel on him because he's an ex-Marine sniper and tracker, and do a prequel with them where they come and they meet, Titus, the confluence of their lives there, right there, and throw that in there. And so, and then, and make their lives interesting, right? To have the viewer, give the viewer something, the reader and the viewer something to read and think about. So.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, I hope you'll come back again sometime to talk about those things.
Absolutely. I'd be honored to. I would love to. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Rick. Good luck with the new book.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Just a few parting words. Just one more writer. We're at the beginning. Let's just do it over. Just a few parting words. First of all, I'm going to say it. One last plug for the Superman Wars. It's about a writer just like you and a turning point for creator rights in America. That's the Superman Wars. Superman Wars, a battle for truth, justice, and an American icon. The WriterCon Retreat is just about two and a half months away. That'll be at the Canebrake Resort in Tulsa. It's not in Tulsa. It's about 40 minutes out of Tulsa. July 15th through 19th. There's going to be 5 of us there teaching. Much smaller group than what you see at the conference, usually about 15, 20 people. And we keep it small on purpose so we can actually talk to people and read your work and give direct one-on-one feedback. So you'll get that from me and Lara. And Lauren Smith, who was on the last podcast, will be there. John Woolley, who's written everything there is to write, will be there. Hunter Strickland, fantastic agent looking for new clients. So come join us. Will you be there, Lara?
Will I be there? I wouldn't miss it. I love it. It's
Maybe
so
I can
secluded.
give you a lift.
Yeah. It's so secluded out there. I start to feel like a trad wife, I guess. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
No,
Nice.
it's so
I see what you
secluded.
did.
We've got the cabins out there, walking trails. We're right by the lake. Being away from everything distracting like that makes it so that we can really focus on the books. Like you said, we will work one-on-one with the participants in the group. And I love that. I have encountered some incredible writers working on some really impressive works over the years. And I can't wait to see what we get this year.
Yeah. And they were better after you were done working with them too.
Yes, you will be amazed how much progress you can make when that is your sole focus. And that's what we've got there. Meals are prepped for us. We don't have to cook. We eat, we work on our stuff, we go away, we write some more, we come back, we teach, we do it all. And we don't have to do laundry or cook or anything. I might sneak away to the sauna. I don't write when I'm on the sauna, in the sauna, but then you can start to think, right? If you take that little bit of a break and you refresh and you can recharge and you get some good ideas for where the story's going to go next.
So that's the WriterCon Retreat. And one last reminder, the annual WriterCon Conference, Labor Day weekend, September 4th through 7th in Oklahoma City at the historic and haunted Skirvin Hilton. I know this is a few months away yet, but if you're making out-of-state plans, if you're like me anyway, you don't want to do it at the last minute. And here's a particularly good reason to think about doing it now. The early bird prices are going to end at the end of May. I think this is the last podcast we will send out before it goes away. So if you're thinking about it, register now. Good grief. You can always, when's the refund date? It's like late August or something. Anyway, just register now and take advantage of the prices because unfortunately they are going to get more expensive in June. Over 60 speakers, writers, agents, publishers will be there. You can pitch, you can have one-on-one sessions, manuscript reviews, contests, and so much more. So think about joining us this year at WriterCon, okay? Until next time, keep writing. And remember, you cannot fail if you refuse to quit. See you next time.